It's now time for the fun part, Etudes!
Yes!
Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson of Scales with Character. I'm Brandon Dix, author of Scales with Character, and let's talk about some etudes today. To be more specific, let's talk about the C major etude and really diving into all the little details of it. It's a pretty tricky etude, even though it doesn't look like it. Now, I want to preface this with that this book is intended to get you from the intermediate level to the advanced level. If you're a beginner, I wouldn't play this etude just yet. Stick with some other things and then come back to this. Continue working on your scales, but this may be a little tricky right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bold march and see some different ways that we can interpret this. Check out how this etude is laid out. It starts off with this big fanfare to start everything off, and that's just the first line. Afterwards, it has this ascending figure, which has a very familiar pattern in it. Can you remember what this is? And then after that, it repeats the fanfare again. This time, the fanfare just changes the rhythm with the first measure only. The rest is the same. Then it goes into the thirds pattern, but it's a lot faster this time. Then we enter a new section that's completely different. The ideas of the first two measures are almost exactly the same. Then it goes into this interlude that gets us back into the main theme, the fanfare. The big, bold fanfare, the final statement of this, which then returns us to that ascending pattern until we get to the finale. Now notice that we're talking about what is in the etude rather than how we're going to play this. It's a different mentality because we're just figuring out what we're dealing with, what we're about to be up against, rather than, oh no, this looks hard. We're breaking it piece by piece, seeing the substance to make it easier for us. This is pretty much the theme of this book if you think about it. We're breaking things apart to make it easier for us rather than taking things in big chunks. So let's do the same thing with this etude. So just so we're on the same page, after we do our first step, which is analyze and define our etude, then we do our second step, which is break it apart and woodship. Woodship basically means we're practicing our part, getting the notes and rhythms correct, and focusing on that.
Who's talking about the notes now? I thought we were supposed to be focusing on the sound. Hypocrite.
Yes, clone, the notes and rhythms are important. That's why it's its own step. Even for the scales, they need to be more solidified. Here's some steps so you can work on that. When you first learn an etude, you gotta learn to sing and finger it only. This way you associate with a note and the up and down movements of the etude. You also can have a safe environment where you're not worried about the mechanics of the instrument, you're worried about the music of it. Take it chunk by chunk, do it from what skill level that you're from. It could be 1 measure, it can be 8 measures. I recommend 4 measures because that's usually when a new phrase starts and when a phrase ends. For example, bum ba bum 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 ba yum ba ding ba.
Nice singing voice.
Shut up! From here, you sing and finger it at least 3 times in a row until you feel comfortable with it. Then you take a break. 10 seconds. 10 seconds to let your mind wander. Then you come right back and do it another 3 times. After you do this, you're allowed to play it. It should be in your ear now, and it should be easier for you to play. Maybe you have some mechanical issues, but that comes into a later step. So you just did it with 1 chunk. Now what do you gotta do? Do it with another chunk. Then you put those 2 chunks together. From there, you continue on with the piece until you've learned all of it. This is something that a lot of private teachers have already taught. It circles around everywhere. It's nothing new. Let's talk about how you can make yourself better quicker though with this. This is step 2.5 and or 3. When you're doing these chunks, you need to think about what you're playing. You need to define what you're playing. So, for instance, you start out with that big opening idea. On top of that phrase, you should write bold, fanfare-like. Give it a character. Give it something that has meat to it. When you do the second phrase, give it also a character. Define it. So, when you're doing these reps, you're not just thinking about getting all the right notes. You're starting to think about what they mean. You're starting to put some meat to them. You don't do this the first time you look at the music. You do this once you understand what they mean. When is that going to occur for you? It all depends. It's different for every person. After this, you do step 4, which is you play from the top to the bottom, all the way through. Pulling it down all the way is not the important part. It's realizing what you need to work on when you go from the top to the bottom. Once you figure out what you need to work on, you write down exactly what you want to be better. And then you worry about it for another day. So when you get to your next practice session, you're woodshedding what you wanted to fix from your previous one. It starts becoming a cycle, which we'll talk about more of that in a later video. Here's a quick summary of everything we just talked about in this video. When we're first introduced to an etude, we first define and analyze it. To step 2, we break it apart and woodshed it. From there, step 2.5 transitioning to 3, we start defining phrases and giving them character. Step 4, we play the whole thing down, top to bottom. Step 5, we evaluate what we just played and write down what we want to work on better for our next session. Now, before I wrap up this video, I'm going to give you one more piece of information, even though that was already a lot. So there's a simple version and a complex version for each etude in this book. This is so if there's anyone who's kind of bored with the simple version, there's a complex version that makes it just a little bit more hard. I'm going to play the complex etude in the background so you can kind of hear what it's about. And I'll also include the etudes for free for download, a free PDF for anyone to download. I'm only doing this for the C major ones. Practice this one, use this technique, see how you can get better with it. So with this video, we've completed round 1 of C major. We're going to come back to C major later, but for right now, we're going to let it rest. We're going to talk about some different scales for the next upcoming videos. Make sure to stay tuned and watch the next video coming up where we're using F major to develop the upper register. So make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get an update from the videos, comment any suggestions that you have, follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure that you stay in contact for all these new lessons coming out. It's so great to do these videos. I'm having so much fun. I'll see you guys next time. Remember to practice with character. Ah, yes. Coffee. The substance that keeps me alive.